Discover the natural power of ashwagandha, an ancient herb known for its healing properties. For over 3,000 years, ashwagandha has been trusted to reduce stress, increase energy, and improve focus. Our ashwagandha is carefully grown, harvested, and processed to retain its maximum potency. Each root is hand-picked and dried, then ground into a pure, organic powder, ensuring the highest quality. Simply mix 1 teaspoon into your favorite beverage or take it in capsule form as prescribed by a healthcare professional. Whether you're looking to balance your stress levels, boost your immune system, or enhance mental clarity, ashwagandha offers a natural solution. Experience the benefits of ancient wisdom backed by modern science. Trust nature. Trust ashwagandha. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Pole sija kuposti mwezi huu wa Februari, nitakuposti mwaka ujao, mpenzi wangu usijali, ila usione kuwa iko mbali. Wanakula nyanya kitunguu, sitotengeza kachumbari. Mapenzi hodari, mapenzi sweet dogo dogo, hatukimbizi gari. Tusijilinganishe nao, hawatujui. Maua ya uzwaga kila siku ila hawanunui. Nakupenda January to December, sio February tu, sio February tu. Baby nakupenda January to December, sio mwezi moja tu, sio mwezi moja tu. Kila siku mama, sio February tu. Kila siku mama, sio February tu. Kila siku mama, sio February tu. A happy wife, a happy life. Sio February tu. Valentine siku nzuri, ila sini wa tofauti na wengine walikopa pesa ili waweze peleka na movie, na sisi tulibaki hapa na najua ilikuuma sana. Ulitaka twende date, sorry my baby haikuweza make. Kila kitu unataka utaget, tafadhali usikuwe na regret. February sio mwezi tu pekee, we love you every day. Baby nakupenda January to December, sio February tu, sio February tu. Baby nakupenda January to December, sio mwezi moja tu, sio mwezi moja tu. Kila siku mama, sio February 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 mama. Mama.
Yes, good afternoon, family. Grand Rising. Happy new month. Happy new week. And of course, karibuni sana to another beautiful episode of the Pan-African Bliss Show. My name is Joby, to the first time returning listeners on YouTube, Rumble, on the network. Karibuni sana. Hope you had a beautiful weekend. Hope August has been amazing to you, and hope you're ready for the month of September, which feels like blessings, happiness, literally everything good. I don't know how you're feeling about it, but karibuni sana to yet another beautiful conversation right here on the media of the 21st century. Of course, as usual, we shall be catching up on the news and updates of what has been happening during the weekend. And of course, majorly we shall be focusing on how Africa literally doesn't benefit. Of course, we were discussing about coffee production in the West Africa, and Africa gaining only 5% out of what it produces, or rather benefits in terms of profit. But largely, we have foreign corporations which earn more than what African nations combined, literally the whole African continent, all combined, they earn literally more than what these African countries literally provide or they're supposed to be gaining. So that is what we shall be focusing on. Much more updates coming from historical history, rather history from Mansa Musa and what he did, or rather how he made Cairo so rich. We shall be discussing bits on that because, again, focusing on what is happening regarding our resources. We want to talk about also an African American who's talking about Africans' need to fix their country. We shall address that and talk about what is happening also in Kenya regarding it being ranked amongst one of the worst governed countries currently right now, and this is literally in the whole world. And we shall also talk about what is happening in Australia and also South Africa yesterday, which being the 31st of August. I discussed there was going to be a nationwide demonstration orchestrated or rather planned by the white people, and this is literally regarding they're talking about the immigrants who are making life harder, life expensive, and it happened yesterday, and this is literally all about racism. We talked about it, we went deeper on it, but I shall be highlighting you guys on what took place yesterday, and of course what is how, and rather how it is related currently right now in South Africa, because if you look at most of the white Australians, in quotes, they're saying that they don't want this to become the next South Africa, so they're going to do everything possible to protect their country, understanding historically this is not their country. So I'll be sharing much more images and videos regarding that. And last but not least, we shall be talking about what is happening in Shell finally admitting in court to paying $1.1 billion, it's more than this, in bribes for oil blocks in Nigeria. We shall be getting deeper in that because Shell is not just in Nigeria, it is in so many African countries. But karibuni sana once again. That was what turned up really with CO February, literally, which means just now February. You need to receive love every single day, not just on Valentine's Day, which most people don't even know what they're celebrating. But as we get started with today's conversation, straight to it, I'd love to remind you to download our app on the Google Play Store. Black Hot Fire Network is the name. We are in Africa, baby, once again, to remind you. So in case you're listening from Zambia through the radio, from Uganda, wherever in the African continent, we are on the TV station currently. Yes, so ensure you just download the app on the Google Play Store, and through the application, you can listen to us via the radio segment or rather on the TV segment. It depends what you prefer, what you're comfortable with. So karibuni sana once again on the Pan-African Bliss Show. And of course, once you have the application, you can get yourself these amazing organic supplements. Man, I've been bumping into people who are taking these supplements. I don't know if they're organic, but I've been seeing people mostly much reliant on the multivitamin, the ashwagandha, the B1, B6 vitamin, something like that. Not really sure, but of course you can get yourself sure organic supplements right here with us on the Black Hot Fire Network. And so you just download the app and you can get yourself for now the Brain and Focus, which of course, in case you're not able to pour your thoughts and everything correctly, Brain and Focus got you covered. Listen to the methods and how you need to take it. And welcome to today's conversation.
Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
To stay on top of the game, to stay ahead and focused, get yourself some Brain and Focus. Karibuni sana once again. My name is Joby. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on whichever stream you are listening to me from, and of course, ensure you download our app. That's the only way you can get yourself these amazing supplements. Karibuni sana once again. We're going to start with what is happening in Kenya. Of course, my very own country where I am. Of course, Kenya has been making history back to back, especially since last year's demonstration confrontation. We've been seeing the back-to-back confrontation with the youth, I'd say, who are the majority, of course, and the government, the current regime, which promised to deliver a lot but doesn't, just like the other presidents in other nations. It's not just Kenya, again, understanding. But right now, we can say we have at least a different nation that is doing different from the other politicians. We're talking about the Alliance Sahel state. We know Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali are not led the same. Others, or the rest of us, what we're complaining, about, they might be led on a different, I'd say the different system, of course, which was through military takeover. And if it has for the rest of us, the rest of the countries to lead us there for us to have military takeovers, but which are not bought by the West, which know why they're taking over, that would be so good. Because remember, I was sharing a video some time back of the Cameroonian guy who said that actually maybe the military coups or the military takeover is the way forward for Africa to finally understand what is happening when it comes to even the control of our resources, our wealth, and why we're so behind. But I want to start with Kenya before we get into the, of course, the Africa as a continent and how the foreign corporations earn more from Africa than the African countries all combined. Do you know how much of a shame that is, saying that all African countries combined literally bear less or literally earn less more than the people they're collaborating with? It's such a shame. But Kenya being one amongst the countries, of course, we know that is one of the problems we have. A lot of loans being taken, a lot of, we know under the loans, or rather being under the World Bank, the IMF, what it does to you as a country. You're completely owned. You're going to start privatizing your own, companies, our companies owned by the state, which we've seen Kenya, of course, experiencing the same thing. We'd see Nigeria also, we saw them experiencing the same thing, and other African nations are experiencing the same thing, and this is because of getting themselves involved with the IMF and the World Bank, which has not so far made us develop in any sort of way. But if you look at their excuse of an article, or speech, whatever they put out there, it's like they're really doing us a big favor and that we should be really grateful. But Kenya has been ranked amongst one of the countries with the worst governance in the world. And this is, of course, once again, finding itself in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, as usual. Of course, Kenya recently, especially since under Ruto's regime, and not to literally trying to protect the other regimes like they've really done better. Like I've said, of course, we've seen the Kenyattas, what they have done historically. It's so right now widely known by those who are woke. Shout out to Keith on the discussion he was having during the weekend, on those who are woke, what is really happening and how these elites or these puppets play along. And I'd say the other regimes have been kind of calm with the situation, not to show us open wide that you're completely stealing from us. That is what is shocking us as Kenyans, realizing and finding out that the expressway road is owned by the Kenyattas, and like Kenyans are literally slaves of the Kenyattas right now, if you can term it that way. It is literally very shocking. So the other regimes have been really quite smart to know how to play this game, not openly on our faces. I'd say maybe probably during Moi's time, that is when it was this much on our faces or our parents' faces. And that's why they say the man on your screen is actually a student of Moi, who ran for 2 decades and with a very, very sharp iron spear. But the same Kenya has once again been found, or rather found itself in a spotlight for all the wrong reasons. And the latest calendar of Good Governance Index 2025 ranks the country 94th out of 120, exposing weakness in leadership, foresight, and institutional strength, adding to the concern Transparency International Corruption Perception Index 2024 played Kenya at 121st out of 180, with a score of just 32 out of 100, showing that corruption remains deeply entrenched. These findings raised tough questions. Is Kenya doing enough to tackle corruption, and strengthen institutions and provide ethical leadership that citizens can actually trust? And of course, the truth is no. It's not doing any of that. Kenya cannot do enough to tackle corruption. As a matter of fact, there was a video I was trying to find, I was listening to last week. I can't find it, of Rigathi Gachagua, the previous deputy president, who of course was part of this corruption, but now wants to play and act smart, act clean, as if he didn't know if he was to go all along with this is what they would have been doing. You know, right now he's out here trying to, I'd say, divide and conquer, which is a political game they always do, to divide people so that they can conquer themselves, you know, have a group of people supporting them. And if it's not tribally fueled, it's always, there's always a weapon behind it that fuels all this follow-up on masses of people can listen to you. But we have Rigathi Gachagua currently right now, who last week after he came back from the US, he's been in the US, I can't tell for how long, but meeting different youths who are actually talking about, of course, the problems that they feel Kenya is facing politically, what needs to be addressed, and what he needs to do. And that's why we had one of the Kenyans whose video went viral, a lady I shared, and she was saying that he needs to stop focusing on tribalism, because people can see it. You so much focus on tribalism, trying to make people come on your side, but this is no longer working. We're in the 21st century, baby. Okay? And it is working, it's just amongst the majority minority that we can't even mention, but it's not that big of a population. Most of the people currently and already know what is going on. So talking about them tackling corruption is what Rigathi Gachagua, during the interview after he came back, he was talking about how recently there was a statement the president made, that is Ruto, and he said that he's going to solve the issue of corruption, and he had names and list of the people involved in corruption. And he said the reason why he has this list, which does make sense, is because this is the same tactic the second president of Kenya was using to actually have close tabs and details of everyone who's working in his office or under his regime. So in case you try to go, hey, you know, you try to say you're no longer doing the yay of mine, you want to go nay, I have all the details about you. You're going to end up in court, and I'll ensure you end up in jail. That is the type of system now we're dealing with, if you understand what I'm really trying to say. So if you go back to asking the question, that is Kenya doing enough to tackle corruption? It's not about tackling it. It's actually keeping people who can be more corrupt around you, so you can do your dirty schemes and the citizens can suffer more. That is what exactly is happening. Strengthening the institution, that is not something they are willing to do. To provide ethnical leadership that the citizens can trust. Already the citizens have their stand, because he thought maybe during the soccer, or having soccer being hosted in our country, that is going to have people very much distracted. But I love my country. I just love my people. You know, immediately after all these games are done, everyone is back on the comment section. Ruto must go. So this is not about political regimes anymore. This is not about tribes anymore. This is not about religion, as a matter of fact, anymore. Because even the religion sector, the pastors themselves, some, again, the woke, are telling us, they're confronting you. They're telling you you're corrupt. You can't keep on pouring money also in churches. People are watching you. These schemes are no longer working. So being ranked one amongst the worst country in governance, hey, it's very evident. But I want to go through the comments of most of the people here, what they had to say. Someone says, now that's accurate, of course. Of course it is accurate, because it is the truth. This is the worst governance, of course, we've had since the last one. I mean, it's not like the last ones were better, but this is the worst. This is the worst. And someone else says, who created this ranking? How reliable is this data comparison and verification? And that is the part I love exactly the most. The fact that right now people are able to sit down and ask questions even about those who come up with these datas It is something amazing, something I keep on addressing. You can't tell me Rwanda is the most peaceful country. I still disagree, okay? This is not a peaceful country just because people cannot talk, just because if I leave my $20, no one is going to steal. That is a chaotic country. And it is chaotic in a manner why actually, number one, addressing the fact that people can't speak. That is one. That is just number one. Because if this is democracy we practice, people should have the right to talk about Kagame's governance. But Rwanda doesn't have the right to speak. So no, whoever comes with this data of course, is the white people, and they are liars. So I'm heavy on that. Who creates these rankings? Yes, I do agree Kenya actually is very bad governed right now. That I'm not going to disagree with. It's very accurate. But we have to go back to the questions again. Who does the rankings? Someone says, of course, that is true. It's different emotions and deliverance of thinking. Someone else says this is 199% correct. Someone else says Kenyans are not arguing with that. We fold. Ruto must go. That is still the hashtag. And last 2-3 comments, someone says for once they got the rankings right. Well, we still have to be very conscious and who do the rankings? That is where we go back to, because understanding African countries literally have zero independency and has zero say even amongst its own leadership. Like, who does the rankings? We need to question. Very true, but we will rescue our country from the jaws of a dictator. I love the spirit. And the last comment, someone says, how about Cameroon? Are you kidding me? That must be a Cameroonian. And remember, like I was just saying and talking about a Cameroonian literally, who said, if we have to go the military way of leadership, then so be it. But sadly, these puppets have become super clever. That's why they are appointing their relatives to be top officials of these particular, areas. Look at Museveni. His old son is a general. I mean, look at Kenya. The general we had died under unknown circumstances. All right. In Nigeria, I'm not really sure, but I'm talking about literally where, if also talking about us having coups, it's not going to be that possible. Most of these people are already weakly and they're weak and bought out. They're so weak and bought out. And you look at also, if you come from a poor background and you work in the government and they try like this, let me use the Haiti situation, right? The Haiti situation, it took just only a few people to realize what they were getting themselves into, but mostly were going because of the desperation of money. Desperation of money, because the government is telling you they're going to pay you this amount, but you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And remember, we had a few only who withdrew from the whole mission before the deployment. So it's crazy. But to just relatively understand what is happening with Kenyans' bad leadership, of course, and worst governance, this has affected, of course, other countries. Like we're talking about Haiti currently. We're talking about Sudan, South Sudan, which, of course, we've been seeing the violence going on currently for the last 3 years. We can say it's 3 years since the war began. And we have Kenya very much involved. Remember at the beginning of the year that was in 2023? Yeah, after Ruto took over. That was, I think, at the beginning of the year. We had our system hacked. M-Pesas were not working. Electricity, everything was not working. Like they had literally hacked our system. And this is because Kenya is being funded by the US, of course, to get involved in this situation that the US started. It's all about resources if you go back. And now where they sent, or rather where they, because let me share this and the details, because Rigathi Gachagua has been trying to expose this and no one believed it. But I love the fact that there's some data and evidence about what is happening. Let me share this.
Leo tuko maisha yetu iko hatarini. Jeshi ya Somalia ambayo walikuwa wanapigania ya Jubaland ambayo walipigania Bulahawa
county is under siege.
That man says our country is in danger. The Somali soldiers, and that is the Somali soldiers who are fighting, I think, for Sudan, that is the RSF, are in Kenya.
Now, that's not an exaggeration.
I didn't know there were Somali soldiers, actually.
And even as we speak today, half of Mandela is occupied by forces from Jubaland.
And the shock isn't just that foreign militia are roaming Kenyan soil. It is that Kenya Defense Forces appear to be standing by, doing nothing about it.
CS Defense, I've never heard of that lady since she was appointed.
Governor Adan Halif sounded the alarm just hours ago. According to him, the Jubaland forces have crossed into Mandera, planted themselves in the county, and even turned BP Primary School into a militia, or rather a military training camp.
We want to call upon His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of all the armed forces. Mandera cannot be turned into a battleground for Somalia. We have no interest in Somalia. The only interest we have in Somalia is peace. If they cannot peace and fight, then we have no business to involve in the internal affairs. They have opened a camp in BP1. BP1 primary school is now closed. And there are people who want to do exam in the next 1 month. How do you close a public school and turn it into a military training camp? It is impossible. So tunawaeleza immediate relocation of Jubaland force out of Mandera. Immediate. I want to tell them, if you don't do it, we will do it ourselves.
And here is the sting. Khalif insists they are operating with the blessings, or at least the quiet nod, of the KDF.
Kama unataka unasaidia peleka Somali, saidieni huko. The Somalis are glass land. You cannot. Huwezi funga mashamba ya wananchi, huwezi funga shule, huwezi funga water supply, huwezi uwa watu wetu ovyo in the name of supporting a faction in Somalia. What interest do you have in Somalia?
Exactly. What interest do you have in Somalia? And not just that. Remember, this deal is being done also as a means of gold. What is it? Let me get it correctly. The gold trade. This is all about mineral resources being transported from here all the way to these other beneficial countries, which we're talking about, the foreign corporations who earn more than the African countries themselves. So why is the RSF in Mandera? Understand, in Mandera region, we're talking about the northern parts of Kenya. This is also a place full of resources. I'll share the image which I bumped into. It's full of resources. Talk about gold. I'm not sure about cobalt, but there's uranium and other mineral resources. This is also the same region, very much fueled with violence. Is confidently talking about they can get rid of themselves because supply of guns there have been very easily available. And this is because of the government. The supply of guns in Mandera. Shout out to Christine, one of our marketing and sales lady. She used to tell us all these stories, how it is very chaotic where she comes from. Very chaotic. I remember the time I was doing the documentary about carbon emission and all that. She was still in the studio, and it was crazy because that was actually happening in our actual home. So talking about the depth of corruption in Kenya, it is very much deep gone. Of course, our Kenya Defense Forces are not going to do anything about it because Kenya, the Kenyan government, and who's giving the orders? Ruto, the president, is not going to do anything about it. He has allowed this.
We don't have any interest. So tunawaeleza CS Defense, sujia kwa wapi? I've never heard of that lady since she was appointed. Anafanya kazi gani? KDF must pull out of supporting the Jubaland force. They must relocate Jubaland from Mandera County.
They won't. That is not the mission. And shout out to Rigathi Gachagua one more time. As much as personally understanding his political interest. He's just pouring out all this truth, which was happening when he was a deputy president, because he has a political interest right now. That is why he's actually pouring out all this information. Bet sure, we need to understand, Africans, we can't be dumb anymore. Bet sure if he was a deputy president, he would still be supporting all this happening in Kenya today and wouldn't give a damn. All right. So personally, I think actually him being impeached, all this was orchestrated. Nothing happens as a coincidence when it comes to them, and there's no such thing as coincidence. Of course, also understanding the laws of the universe. There's no such thing as coincidence. These people know very well, and they are very well organized. From me becoming a deputy president, to me being impeached, to me becoming a another political ally who's seeking a presidential, this is all orchestrated. I don't know how smart we need to get for us to understand politicians are always playing in front of our eyes. But this is not something that should be a surprise to us. The only thing we should focus on is the words now is pouring out about our country being in danger. We should not focus about his interest, not him as a person, our country, our interests. So this is super, super crazy, but I'm going to shift from that. That is literally the reason why Kenya is ranked amongst one of the worst governance in the whole world, or the worst governed country in the whole world. There's a lot of things happening, and this is all being allowed by the president. He's very much comfortable about it. But as we move on, of course, from other more news and updates, we'll talk about poor governance and Africans not being able to fix their country, because this man is addressing the same thing. He's saying that Africans, we have a tendency of always complaining how America is not fixed. Number one, as Joby, I don't think I've even ever complained. The only history I know about America is what I learn every single day. Everything we talk about. All right. If you ask me today which area in America which needs to be fixed, I don't know. I don't live there. Yes, I know a few things. We have people in the streets, people who need to be, some places need to be taken care of, and can actually bring, if well taken care of and if well governed, finances poured correctly, if these places are fixed, like the places, I can't remember which place it was in America, which we were showing, it was a damped place with a railway on the top. If these places can be fixed and create affordable houses, we're not going to be having any more people in the streets. You can take all that shit down that is so old and bring up other more affordable houses and ensure no one is in the streets. But being realistically also open, do I know which part of America needs to be fixed? Hell no, because I don't live there. I don't have an experience in America to come talk about I want America to be fixed. So I don't know which part or which Africans is talking about, number one, that are complaining about America needs to be fixed while we can't fix our very own. We understand our issue. I think at this point, number one, something that some African Americans may not understand. You think we're still dumb? We're not. We're very much woke. Again, very much connected to the dots. Shout out to platforms like this, Black Hot Fire and the rest, where people are bringing up the truth. We're very much educated and we know where the problem is. Ruto is number one of our problem. Why our countries are not working. But listen to this man.
All right, can somebody please tell me why these Africans have so many ideas about how to fix Black America and how to fix America, but they can't even fix their own countries? They can't even fix
Black America. How does that even sound? Okay.
Angola, they can't even fix Ghana, they can't fix Nigeria, they can't fix Jamaica, they can't fix Haiti.
It's not us, it's our people, it's the puppets we have. And yes, it has taken us long for us to understand we are the democracy, like I said. Are we supposed to be mad about it? Hell no. Are we still mad about it? Hell yes. It's a mixture of emotions, because again, I keep on questioning how long, how did we get this deep? It still surprises me, learning everything every single day. Chat to you, John Mosquito. It surprises me every single day, learning our history every day. Trust me, it's not like it doesn't surprise me. How did we get this deep to be this much indoctrinated? It's very alarming and very shameful. The fact that we really come from a very historical, magnificent, historical, magical, I don't even know how to call it, type of civilization, and still our history is very magical and very magnificent. All in all, how did you get here? I don't know. But again, I'm always heavy on, let's stop acting like we were all born smart. All right, that is something I love focusing on, especially as a presenter. I am a presenter to inform what is happening, bring knowledge, conclusion on it. But have I also learned through everything? Yes. But these other people love acting like, I was born smart more than y'all, so you dummies, you need to stop acting like, let me teach you something. No, that mentality has to go. You need to drop it if you have that type of mentality. I really don't like it.
God knows they can't fix Haiti because that has been a hot mess for generations. But yet they come here and they have all these ideas about what America.
We can't fix Haiti. We can't fix Haiti. Right now, Haiti actually is suffering because of the country you're living in, America. Okay, the greatest of all. Haiti is suffering because of the greatest of all, right? And I'm not talking. This is not about a race thing. That is another problem when it comes to us, to Africans to Africans want to make it. We're not the enemies. We're not the enemy. I'm not the enemy. The white person is. There's someone who started all this. But when wrong informed, this is the type of war you want to come up with. This is a lame ass defense mechanism. That is what I call a weak, lame ass defense mechanism of trying to bring a point to the people.
America should do for Black people, and how America has failed, and how America should be fixed, and how Trump is bad, and how Republicans are bad, and
Trump is not good, please.
How what Black Americans need to do. I will tell you this, Africans, please go fix your own countries. Please take all of this energy and all of these ideas to your countries. Take them to Haiti, because Haiti's a hot mess. Take it to Nigeria, because I know what's going on in Nigeria. Take it to Angola, take it to Ghana, take it to Jamaica, take it to all of these different places, but you don't want to do that. Instead, you want to come over here, insert yourself into Black American issues, and by the way, use everything that we have fought for and built for to go insert yourself into places, but that quite frankly, you have not earned. All right. So the message from this Black American, and my family has been here for generations, baby. I'm not some African. I'm a Black American. And so
wow. Wow. I like wow. He said what? Like, please, somebody take this moron and go educate them something. He has a point, but his point, he can't even defend his point still. He's still going back to being a moron, So, why did I share this? Of course, I wanted to share it because this is crazy.
My advice to you is go fix your own countries before you come tell us about our issues. All right, because somebody.
Okay, so let me go through the comments just a little bit, all right? Because this sounds like when you say divide and conquer has been used upon us and it's working, this is it. This is also it, okay, upon us. When politicians have played divide and conquer and it has worked on us, this is also it, where we also play divide and conquer amongst our own people. Some, not everyone, of course, but this is so crazy and such a lame explanation of trying to explain your history or make a point. Let me just say make a point, because you didn't even say nothing important. we're very, again, I'll go back to Africans currently, not back then, but I'm talking about right now. People are getting educated and understand where the problem is coming from. Actually, the same oppression I'm facing, I'm going to make it very simple. The same oppression I'm facing is the same oppression you're facing. Yes, Black American history, I understand that point. Black American history is the most brutal history of all. But let's not also act like, going back to the point, it's not like something was not happening back here in the continent during and after slavery. And it is still happening. Are the same things happening affecting you and affecting me? Hell yeah. I may not face them like you do every day, living in a white supremacist country or part of the world, but I'm still controlled by the same system that you actually think you actually think. How do I try? I'm trying to use the right word. I don't want to use defend because it didn't defend. I'm still in the same system that makes you think that I do not want to fight for my country. Can you fight for America, brother, today? Let's just be very honest. Can you fight for America? Because you actually look like, and I don't want to go deeper into that, but yeah, we need to stop this. This is the same thing Keith has been talking about. This FBI movement, this all war going on between Africans and African American. Please, let's get history together. Let's get information before we jump on one another. I think personally, the moment we both understand where we're coming from, this is going to be very easy for people to know and stop this clashing back and forth. Or Africans or African Americans. So what? You're still African, bro. I don't care whether you lived in America for the last 150, 60, 70,000 years. You're still an African. So I'm not buying the bullshit of I'm a Black American. So okay, cool, but you're still an African. Whether you want to add Black, whether you want to add a Negro America, whatever, you're still an African, and that's on period. This argument needs to stop. It needs to stop. Someone says, "Don't fall for this bullshit." This man is doing the bidding of his white American mass. Exactly. Oh, please, I thought so. Sowing division amongst the Africans and the African diaspora. And someone says Haiti and Jamaica are where in Africa. Okay. Someone also says Haiti, Jamaica. Did I miss something? Where did Africans say they want to fix Black America? Exactly. Please, hello. Like, where did I've never bumped into such a video, leave alone even a comment. Like, where in the world did Africans say we want to fix America or go fix America? I don't even know nothing about. I'm gonna be very honest. I don't know nothing about America apart from what we talk about. I've not grown up in America to talk shit about go fix DC, go fix Detroit, go fix what? I don't know nothing. And it would be such a shame for me to talk like that when I know nothing about those places. Like, this is crazy. But I wanted to share that. I also see John was going to say, Joby, this guy is speaking some truth, but unfortunately, it's just regurgitated truth, and I also suspect is undercover homo. He looks like one. He also says there's nothing wrong at all with that. He's saying, but it's the intentions behind it. It's to build people up or cause more division. For him, it talks like is more of a divided person, because he's not talking about how can we understand the problems Haitians are facing, both we, the people in the continent, and the Black Americans, because who's causing the problems? The same people who are controlling us, the same people you're living under their rules. Like Haiti, Sudan, Congo is suffering because of we know who. And to just make it simple, we say the US. you know. But moving on from that guy who's so crazy, it is insane. We have, of course, what we are trying to actually take back is our African nations, and I think I'd address Australia. Australia, we had discussed this sometime. This is, I think, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I discussed about the 31st August march that was planned by the white racist Australians who don't even belong in that country. Number one, let's just be very honest. And this is them addressing the immigrants. They're saying that life is tough and all that. I have a couple of videos I want to share about that, but this is what went down yesterday. So it was not just a planned demonstration, it happened. Yeah, so that is what happened. And of course, we have a few Black people who, of course, reacted to this. Let me share 2 videos from TikTok of 2 ladies who are addressing the situation. One was on the demonstration, rather was caught up on the demonstration, and what she had to say.
Don't mind me, I literally had to just wash my eye. But in regards to tomorrow, which is the 31st of August, everybody just stay vigilant. I feel like don't be scared, because these racist people in this society that we live in, then they're gonna come face it like wearing face masks. They're not confident in themselves. You can't be scared of someone who's not even confident in showing their face and standing up for what they apparently believe in, which is anti-immigration. But in regards to like Australian history and everything, if you're not First Nations or like an Indigenous Australian, then you're also an immigrant to this land. Whether your family had migrated here 140 years ago, and I'm sorry, but ethnically, you still came from somewhere, guys. You know what I mean? Yes, we're all Australian because one nation, like, you know what I mean? We live in Australia, we live in amongst each other, you know, and even when we go to work, we're working together to contribute to this economy, for example, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't understand this racial divide within the society, where neo-Nazis have such confidence in trying to tell us to basically go back to where we came from. But the thing is, brother, like, you might as well come on the same plane as well so that we can drop you off to like some part in Europe, you know what I mean? While we make our way back to Africa, for example. You know what I mean? If we're really telling the truth. Otherwise, we have to accept the fact that, you know what I mean? Like, this land was built by immigrants as well as the convicts, the British convicts who had come here. They literally brought over British convicts here because in the UK, the prisons were too full. So, you know what I mean? I feel like people have to educate themselves or remember the history of Australia before they actually, you know what I mean, start standing up for Australia. Standing up for Australia is standing up for diversity, standing up for each other, being like, hey, you're out of hand, you're out of line. You shouldn't be saying that at all. We should be able to live amongst each other happily and freely. You know what I mean? We live in a society where we're very safe here compared to, for example, America. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are we now going to cause a divide within ourselves? Obviously, there has always been a divide, but now that people have the audacity, such confidence to go and make a group, a racist group,
exactly,
and then what?
I feel like even
cause fear within the
to pose what she's saying in terms of divide, for me to make sense, if I see the other Negro, I just shared this video addressing that type of division, but you want to come attack other Africa, your same race, your race, for you not understanding history. It's very crazy.
Street to the point where we have to tell our parents to be careful, or our parents telling us to be careful. Come on, tomorrow is the Lord's day. Tomorrow is Sunday. It's a family day. You're telling me to stay home because what? Some people who are not brave enough to even show their faces are going to be outside of Flinders Street Station from 12 to 4 p.m. on the 31st of August, right? I want to see what these people behind these masks are actually going to, what they're going to do. I'm sorry, the cops are around. You're getting locked up. You do anything out of hand, you're getting locked up. You know what I mean? They'd be so quick to call the police on us because they're living in fear or whatever, because they're afraid of immigrants. I'm sorry, but this is very scary as well, you know. And if you try something, woo. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still going to be posted up around Flinders. I don't know. I want to see what's going on. And also for all of my immigrants, please keep in mind that they want a reaction out of us.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to get into trouble. They
Of
want
course.
to provoke us.
Of
So let
course.
them do their peaceful
They
protest
want to,
and let
they
us.
want to get a reason now for them to be literally kicked out of the country. You know, they are literally seeking a reason for the Aboriginals to be kicked out of the country, because yeah, these people don't belong there. That's just the truth. When she's talking about learn history, understand history, we can also put you back on a plane and go back where you came from. They don't belong there. That is something they need to be told on their damn ass faces. Like, enough with gatekeeping and telling, like, trying to, I don't know, butter up white people. Can you just be realistic with them? It's gonna cost us, but that is what it's going to cost for us to just get to where we want to get. It may not be easy, maybe the way I'm talking about it. I've not been on that, and I wish not to be. I never wish to be. I've not been on that face of racism to face hear that racism. I might have experienced it, but it was not that what I talk about. The Karen hood, the whatever hood, it's not that much. But something has to be done. Something has to be done. Something has to be done. That's the thing.
Us just kind of just witness and just watch.
For me, there's no way. I always say there's no way I'm going to talk about these stories. I'm even picking up our accent literally already. I'm picking up our accent. I'm literally picking up our accent. There's no, I'm going to be talking about these stories every single day, and nothing is going to ever change. Nah. There's no way Black people are going to keep on addressing this problem, and they're still going to sit comfortable and allow this to keep on going on. Leave alone the universal ceramic effect, leave alone the universe doing its thing. There's no way also for us to just gonna sit down comfortable and wait for the universe to do something.
What's going on?
Just saying.
You know what I mean? Don't be afraid. And do not react to them. If anything, the cops will be there. Let them put them in handcuffs. Because the last time I checked, hate speech or hate in general is actually against the law. So people have to be careful. Yeah, you got to be careful. But we don't have to be careful or live in fear. No. When my family first like moved here and everything in the early 2000s, Australia was pushing like for diversity, you know, for everybody to have a fair go. When we were in assemblies, like during primary school and secondary school, we would literally be singing the national anthem together. We'd even be like, we are one, but we are many, and from all the lands.
Yeah, that's it. We don't want to hear the whole singing, but you got the point of what she's
saying. Let me give you guys the tea of what's going on in Australia. So white people have decided that immigration is the cause of all their problems. It's the cause of housing crisis, cost of living, and that is the fault of all immigrants in this country. So today is August 31st, and they've decided to protest against immigration. Like, we should all go back to our countries, because when we go back, that's going to fix all the problems. So they're all wearing black masks and black outfits, and they're protesting, white man fight back, white man. Australia is not even populated at all, and a lot of immigrants that come here on very high merits. They work there. We work our ass off. Australia is filled with so many good people. I don't want like the bad freaking people to overshadow the good ones. Immigration is the least of your problems. We immigrants are suffering with everybody else. Everybody stay safe out there. I just thought to tell you guys what's going on. I don't usually speak on things like this, but I was like, you know what? I better just talk about it. Anyway, bye. Let me give you guys the tea of what's going on in Australia.
Looking at the comments of the first video, someone said it's an Aboriginal land forever. So the white people are just, they're always, again, playing victim in situations they shouldn't be playing victim, in places they shouldn't even be. Like, take a good example of South Africa. Again, Australia. You shouldn't even be there. You don't belong there. Historically, you're not an Aboriginal. But again, playing victim. They love playing victim. Always. Because, related story, coming from South Africa, of course, white people claiming lands. Remember last week we shared the video of the Israelites who are now occupying South Africa. Shout out to Katie, shared the video with me, and we saw some Israelites who are in South Africa and saying they're not going anywhere. We have a man from the UK who wants to divide South Africa now into two different countries, the Western Cape and the Southern. The Western will be for the white only, and his name is Phil Gregg and has been in South Africa since 2004. He's now calling for a movement for support. And this is what they want for South Africa. And the government will never hesitate to approve, of course. That is one of the people who said, the government is not going to, Ramaphosa is not going to do anything about this. He's not doing anything currently about the white situation, how it's affecting Black people, being killed, being fed to pigs. That is not a goddamn thing to care about. So this should be something they're going to also, like, the Black mindset is so affected. Someone says, leave the country. Leave the country. It is not yours to claim. Someone says they only have strength when they see Nigerians. Meanwhile, a white man want to divide their country. The audacity of it, South Africa is South Africa, I'm ashamed of you a lot for allowing such behavior. That is someone else. And the last 3-4 comments I'm going to read. Someone else says they should deport him. The earlier, the better. Someone says, I will never understand how you allow this. This is an invasion. Load the guns and clear it out. Another person says, I'm going to read it in South African accent. Regardless of how you have treated other Black Africans in the country, we will still stand and fight against the European and reclaim your land. We Nigerians, African giant, we will come to you. Nigeria, African giants. The only African giant you have is Burna Boy, who even Bill Gates said he doesn't recognize. So please get out of our faces talking about African giantism when you don't practice it. Enough with that. More actions, less talking. That is what white people have been doing. Always on action, always ahead of the move. Trust me, that is what they beat us. They always have an agenda. While we're out here thinking about how Jesus is going to help us. Well, good luck to you. But as we get into how the foreign nations have been literally benefiting, or nation corporations have been benefiting more than all of the African countries combined, let's take a look at Shell. Remember the history of Shell? I did a whole show on Shell. How Shell took over Nigeria, the oil, and how today they're the biggest. Actually, in the whole globe, I'd say Shell is everywhere. Shell is in Kenya, Shell is in Tanzania, Shell is everywhere. Shell is in Nigeria, Shell is everywhere. So they did admit in a court to be paying, that they have been paying 1.1 billion in bribes for oil blocks in Nigeria. In 2011, one of the biggest scandals in Africa, that was in 2011, one of the biggest scandals in Africa's oil history unfolded. The Royal Dutch Shell and Italian oil giant Eni paid $1.1 billion for a lucrative offshore oil block in Nigeria known as OPL 245. On paper, the money was meant to go to the Nigerian government. In reality, investigations later revealed that a huge portion was siphoned off the politicians, middlemen, and power brokers. The deal became the textbook case of how resources wealth in Africa is often captured by elites rather than the benefiting citizens. Despite being Africa's largest oil producer, Nigeria still struggles with fuel shortages, poverty, and unemployment rates. The OPL 245 cases symbolizes a large problem. Billions in oil revenue vanished through corruption, going back to the first conversation with Ruto, and backdoor deals while public services remain underfunded, sorry. And after years of legal battles in multiple countries, both Shell and Eni admitted the money went into corrupt channels through the denied wrongdoing. For Nigerians, the scandal reinforced the bitter reality of the resource curse, where having oil wealth brings not prosperity but exploitation. The OPL 245 case is more than a scandal. It's a reminder of why Africa's natural resources often enrich foreign corporations and local elites, while ordinary citizens remain excluded from the wealth beneath. But it doesn't end there. They're talking about Africa is often described as the world's most resource-rich continent, from gold, cobalt, oil, and diamonds and rare earth minerals. Its land is filled with wealth that powers global industries. Yet, the shocking reality is that the foreign corporations extract more profits from these resources than all African governments combined and in revenues. This imbalance happens because the most African countries still export raw materials under contracts signed decades ago, often with unfavorable terms. And mining and oil companies repatriate billions in profits to their headquarters abroad, while local communities see little benefits beyond low wage, jobs, and environment damage. The numbers are staggering. Africa loses over 88 billions every year through illicit financial flows, tax evasion, and underpriced export. At the same time, multinationals, enjoy tax breaks and loopholes that further weakens state revenues. This means that while Africa fuels the world's technology, jewelry, energy sectors, and Africa's struggle to fund hospitals, schools, and even infrastructures, the paradox is clear again. Africa is rich in resources, yet poor in returns. Unless stronger regulations, fair contracts, and value added industry are developed, the continent will remain trapped in this cycle of extraction without ever developing. And which is the truth. If you look at from the beginning, we're talking about why Kenya is so corrupt. Then you go all the way back to what it's doing, which is all mineral resource connected. Why is working with the RSF, literally. Why the Mandera people now are suffering. They're losing their lands. People are dying. People are being shot dead. Just because they're also trying to protect their lands and all that. So corruption at a bigger level. So talking about Shell, they did admit. So after admitting, what happened? Nothing. We're still talking about the same situation where we didn't move on from. We're still held captive by the same organization, still serving them very big. It is up to us to demand a change. But yes, as we come to the end of today's conversation, I see John Mosquito says, Joby, in the diaspora, many Black Africans are psychologically manipulated and used against Black diasporas. So there's a lot of trauma that's being exploited to use divide and conquer. I agree. Things will come down within the next 5 years. Well, we hope so. That's all I can say. Africans, it's so hard for us to I say it's so hard to predict our people. 1 minute you think we're moving ahead, the next minute you can't tell where we're moving. Big Cheese always says that sometimes. It hurts him when he says other things that Black people are doing. You can't make this shit up, It's crazy. John Mosquito says, did you see how that Elon Musk didn't want to shake Ramaphosa's hand? No, I've not seen that yet. I didn't see that video, but I know Bill Gates said he didn't know who Burna Boy the F is or Rema. He did know only Wizkid and Davido. So that That is to Nigeria, your African giant is not recognized. Okay, the oil is recognized, but not your African giantness. All right. Shout out to Big Cheese Karibu San. I hope you had a beautiful weekend as well. He says, Joby, I respectfully disagree with you and Keith. No immigrants in South Africa are beneficial to South Africans, the black or the white ones. Well, the white ones, no. The black ones, yes. Because again, you have to understand, Big Cheese. Even let me put an example, right? When you're going to South Africa, it's like, of course, for Black Americans, Keith has said it's different. They know what's up, but when you go there, it's not like you're living on a free hotel, right? You know, riding a free Uber, eating free food. You're literally you're spending your money in that country. All whatever how they combine those taxes, it's still benefiting the country. So what do you mean it's not beneficial for me as a Kenyan going there? No immigrant in South Africa is benefit. No, the black ones are. The white ones, no. White people always take advantage of everything. At this point, we've understood. Not all of them as well, but like I told you, just because a snake shades its skin today, it doesn't mean tomorrow it's not a snake. It's still a snake. Be heavy on that. Big Cheese also says Nigerians are willing to be used against the South Africans by the white man. That is so evident. Like these people are willing to be used by anyone at this point. For real, Nigerians are bootlickers. You're not even gonna cap about that. These people are willing to bootlick to fit in. Oh my God. I mean, look at the poverty. It's crazy. I mean, it's the same everywhere, but it's crazy. But I also see pictures says, now I understand that South Africans are brainwashed sellouts at the same time. Majority of the Africans are. Trust me. Majority of the Africans are. You just need to do research and then look at them well. Not all of our people, but some of our people, majority are. People are willing to do, they're willing to sell you out for what is really beneficial for them. Like, if you want to talk about snakes, it's so many. You have to be even your very own people. You might be having a snake around you. That is just the reality. But this is where we come to the end of today's conversation, family. That is all I had for you today, talking about how foreign corporations literally earn more. And just to wind up, it's crazy because when you look at how foreign corporations earn more from the African resources, and you look at how one time our resources made actually a country bankrupt. It's crazy. Talking about Mansa Musa, who made Cairo so rich, gold became worthless for 10 years. That is in 1324, where Mansa Musa, the emperor of Mali, set out his famous pilgrimage. Can I pronounce that? Pilgrimage. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. To Mecca, he didn't travel quietly. His caravan stretched across the deserts with tens of thousands of men, camel loads with gold, and entrusted to vast stand every city he passed. When he reached to Cairo, Musa's generosity became legendary. He handed out much gold to the poor, merchants, the rulers, and the precious metals suddenly lost its value. Prices skyrocketed, markets collapsed, the Egyptian's economy spiraled into inflation that lasted more than 10 years. It remains one of the few times in history when a single man's wealth did directly destabilize a major world economy. To this day, historians estimate Mansa Musa's fortune will be over $400 billion in modern terms, making him the richest man who lived ever. Mansa Musa's journey wasn't about faith. It was exactly not what your leaders sell you and what religion sells you, faith and hope. It was a display of power that entrenched Mali into a global history as a kingdom of unimaginable wealth. So when you're being told today you're poor, when you actually go back and read what I just discussed, foreign corporations earning more than the African's resources, understand that actually one man's wealth made a whole country bankrupt. So think about it. What are you not being told historically? Think about it. Talking about one man's wealth. So what about if everyone was that equally wealthy? talk about it. But much love. See you guys later today, of course, tonight on the Africa Today show. And have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful rest part of your morning. To those who shall be catching this on a replay, hope you guys get to enjoy on BitChute, on YouTube, and of course on the network. You can catch maybe the previous shows always running and streaming on the TV segment, rather on the show page. And sure, if you do not have the app, you download it on the Google Play Store. Black of Fire is the name, and of course through the app. Once again, get yourself some merchandise, hoodies, beanies, t-shirts, hats, short glasses, handbags for your wife, side chick, or some ashwagandha and some multivitamin. Much love. See you guys later.
Pole sija kuposti mwezi huu wa Februari, nitakuposti mwaka